all comes down to this. Sacrifice, 2 teams, 8 players, and a fat fistful of cash. We're going to be seeing Team Liquid and the complete and total utter surprises, the underdogs, the Unlovables. We're going to have to see how this goes here. I'm your friendly neighborhood Jahar, live here at DreamHack Denver 2017. And thank you for joining us all. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a great journey. And it's coming to a close, but it's going to be an explosive one. To carry us through it here, we've got ckap and Machiavelli. ckap, what did you think of that last duel semi?
I think I'm really happy to, I mean, come on, right, whatever. I'm really happy to see Garpi because we have got Europeans in duel, so we have got that. However, we don't have that in Sacrifice. It's been a North American day for team modes in general. They've been playing really well. Unlovables definitely pulling off the biggest, I'm going to see that all day, the biggest upset, I think, of the entire day. It's been upsets all day, but this really was the cream of the crop. I mean, they've earned their place here, and I mean, congratulations to see how far they get.
Now, it would be remiss not to point out how big of a mountain they have to climb in Team Liquid. I mean, this is going to be like one of the, not only a team that has like a lot of pedigree behind it, but also these are players who have played together in Quake Live, in Quake 3. They've done a lot of CTF, a lot of TDM. These guys are like a really well-oiled machine at this point. Machiavelli, what do you think the Unlovables can do here?
They are going to be up against it, that's for sure. But as they showed in their last match against Stack, they are up for the challenge, and they are not afraid of no one. As ckap said up here, he believes in his teammates, and they just try to keep him in the right frame of mind and just play your hearts out. And I really like that. You can see the passion when they win, the way it gets up and screams. I love that passion that they have for gaming. As after the interview, I said, don't ever lose that passion. It's just great. But it is an uphill battle. I have to agree with you completely. Liquid, you know, Unlovables beat Stack. Liquid dominated Stack pretty much in their game. So Unlovables, they're going to have to step it up another notch to get this done. They're
going to have to play their hearts out, like you say. They're going to have to shout their lungs out. They're going to have to play their spleens out. I mean, either way, it's going to be difficult to clean up the mess on that stage later on tonight. But, you know, let's take another look at this bracket, actually, because now we're down to the grand final. But, of course, this has been a 4-team bracket, but these guys have given us fantastic matches the whole way around. I mean, you see a lot of 2-0s here, but it came down to, like, 99 to 99. So many times it came down to, like, the last round every single time. And, actually, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw some of that here. I think the Unlovables right now is riding a bit of a wave. And you saw, like, ckap, I mean, his enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah. But I feel like when you've got that level of enthusiasm, it does help you and your team like quite easily get into the zone that you need to be in to play at this level. And going up against Team Liquid, who are, you know, definitely seen as the #1 team in North America, and they've been getting better by the day. Like the difference, the sheer difference in Team Liquid from QuakeCon to now is night and day. And a lot of these members of Team Liquid, they've been just dedicating every waking moment to Quake Champions, and the proof is in the pudding.
Absolutely. So everybody out there in the live audience, I want you to vote either with your head or with your heart. It's going to come down to Team Liquid and the Unlovables. Feel free to throw out hashtag either Liquid or Unlovables. Either way, it's going to be a hell of a matchup here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, I really like how Liquid's been playing. I've spoken about the roster shakeup. For those who may have just tuned in for the final here, Liquid really did shake up the roster by adding KGB there. Excellent team player, #1 internet troll as well. And also on the, you know, DaHang's obviously the staple, along with Rapha. And on the right at the very end, and when we get to them, you'll see Whaz, otherwise known as Wazzle Dazzle, because he will dazzle you with some of his play.
I mean, Team Liquid as well, one thing they've got on deck is just versatility. You know, they share champions among themselves. It's not really, you know, I'm going to play this one champion, you're going to play that. They're flexible. You know, they remain unpredictable. Different maps demand different compositions, which ultimately will demand a different play style. And with seeing as it's best of 3, you know, with these rounds, it's not a huge amount of time to learn how a team handles Sacrifice.
Absolutely. And over on the other side of things, these are names and faces that everybody at home needs to be memorizing here. We've got Sen, we've got ckap, we've got botmode, and Kane. Kane's shotgun has been absolutely deadly. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that. And of course, botmode there. These are just poster childs for Quake now.
I mean, you can see just how many of these players are young, you know, to the young blood. And I think that really is the hallmark of what Quake Champions is all about. It's a revival of Quake, but it's a combination of the old and the new. And the sheer amount of talented young players. I mean, we even have Razy in Grand Finals of Duel. Like, it's remarkable how much success these young players can achieve in a short space of time.
I'm a little bit concerned about putting ckap so close to those giant monitors, because we saw him pop off when they played their last round, and he stood up and threw his arms about there. I hope that the stage is in good hands there.
Can it contain his hype?
Well, it's going to be difficult for us to do so. I mean, I want to say that we've been run ragged by today's events, by today's matches, but of course the players have been feeling, our stress times, insert whatever number you want here. It's been an incredibly stressful matchup. It's been an incredibly stressful tournament. But yeah, grand final time. Now, this is double elimination. That means that if the Unlovables manage to take a set away from Team Liquid, they're going to need to make Lightning Strike twice. Now, we've been talking about how tough of a mountain this will be for them to climb, and that fact makes it a little bit tougher. Now, they're going to be starting off on Ruins of Sarnath. It's going to be Liquid's pick, and then Unlovables actually going for Blood Covenant. So both of them avoiding Burial Chamber at the moment.
The thing is, Team Liquid play phenomenally well on Ruins. Like, it really is one of their strongest maps, if not their strongest map from what we've seen, and as you can see, it's their pick as well. This could give them the best start they could possibly go for. DaHang is a real star player on this map also, because he's also good at it in duel, and I think it's everything's going to come up well for them on this map.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they can play incredibly fast here. You see a lot of those individual frag streaks come out, especially around the quad. And that quad is always a bit of it's a rough one. It's down in the pit. You've got several layers of visibility to it with rockets and rails. But Machiavelli, I mean, we've been seeing these guys take power up after power up. I mean, the Unlovables seem to have a bit of a thing going there.
Well, they're going to be up against it in this match because, as we've seen with Liquid, they like to use DaHang in the clutch shield to really secure points in Sarnath, and it's proven to be very effective.
Yeah.
We've yet to see a team counter it in any effective way. It's going to be up to the Unlovables to figure out how to deal with that, get around that. But, we saw them make a big turnaround, in their game against Stack, where it seemed like Stack was running all the power-ups, and all of a sudden it's like, they realized, hey, maybe we need to organize our team here and make sure we secure some of our own, and that made a difference in the match. So I don't know, though. I really feel like DaHang's clutch is really the anchor for Liquid on this map. It's going to be tough for Unlovables.
Is that going to be your official prediction here? You think Team Liquid is going to make it?
Although I've been the jinx all day.
Well, I mean, have predictions really done anything today? I think that's the question.
Nothing.
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 They still have to play the game. But yeah, I'm going with Team Liquid. I loved how they looked against Stacked. As I mentioned, I like the roster shakeup. I think Whaz is amazing. So I'm going with Team Liquid.
I feel like Unlovables, they've already made history of being a talented young team of North American players. However, I do think that Team Liquid is too much of a titan to take down, and Liquid will be my call.
This is going to be a great opportunity for the Unlovables to show off what they've been doing, to show off how far they've come, but I'm afraid that it's going to stop here. I think Liquid is going to do a phenomenal job here, and that's going to be our unanimous vote. Twitch, I'm betting that you're going to be on the same side of this one, but again, if you're voting with your heart, you might want to see some real play coming out of the Unlovables.
And one of the other things to touch on, as we mentioned earlier, this is double elimination, so they have to do it twice.
That result is not as ridiculously unanimous.
It really isn't.
I thought it would be far more lopsided, honestly. So.
I think the Unlovables have won a lot of fans today, and I don't think that's going to end no matter what happens here. So I think if we're good to go on our first map, I think we're going to go ahead and toss it over to ckap and Machiavelli. Take us away.
Thank you very much, DaHang. Now, I think everyone's going to be really excited over what to expect here. We've already touched on the fact that Team Liquid, they're very flexible with the kind of champions and roles they can take on board for each map. Ruins of Sarnath is by far one of their strongest maps. We've talked for days about how much of a difference DaHang will make with that clutch. I expect almost 100% that we'll be seeing in the clutch again. But I feel like this is an exciting tournament for these guys. DreamHack is such a staple piece of Quake history. This is the first DreamHack for Quake champions. I think both these teams want to be considered that first champion team for this game, because there's only ever going to be one champion or first champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the extra $10,000 on the line doesn't hurt either.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a little good motivation. I like that. It adds a little extra to the game. You got money on the game now. It's almost like you throw cash on the table and say winner takes all.
it's one of those situations where, you know, some of these players, you sort of start playing for some serious cash this far down the line. And going by the champions again, we did see DaHang going with the clutch, which is to be expected. You said it yourself, right? One thing that we just see so consistently, which these teams have not had an answer for, is how dangerously Liquid control the power-up. And the power-up makes a gigantic difference in Sacrifice. Now when you've got a clutch who can control the power-up, if he sits on protection while taking minimal damage, he just became like that #1 source to then just run into whatever obelisk he wants and just take the soul, in some cases for free. Yeah, he's got the backup.
They clearly have a plan on these maps for securing power-ups. Usually at Sarnath, we'll see a combination of the clutch shield mixed with the plasma trail from Slash. Makes it very difficult to move in. Even if you're Nyx, you come out of Invis, the plasma trail is going to make a mess of you pretty much. And also we saw them on Blood Covenant. You know, they had a nice scale bearer plasma trail combination that they were using on Stack. So, like I said, Unlovables has very much an uphill battle. How do they combat these strategies, these tactics that Liquid are doing? Because you can tell they're so sharp. The timing of them utilizing their abilities together and meshing them is very on point. It caused Stack all kinds of problems.
And I think that will naturally kind of go hand in hand with how much experience some of the Team Liquid roster have together. With team modes for days, you know, they just have years and years of FPS experience, but it's all coming down to this. Grand Finals of Sacrifice Ruins of Sarnath will be our first map. Team Liquid and Unlovables North America going head-to-head. It's been an amazing result so far, but only one team will be the first DreamHack champion for Quake Champions.
Yeah, I think it would be great if Unlovables could get off to an excellent start, maybe put some doubt in Team Liquid's mind on this map, because they've been so dominant here on Sarnath.
They got some early frags, but obviously if you get those early frags before the soul will respawn, it's not going to be as beneficial. But as you can see, actually, Unlovables, they've been able to take the soul for now, trying to go towards Obelisk A, but I think they're having to be really careful. Make sure you've got the right guidance. The worst thing you can do is try and drop off the soul, and I actually love that decision. So many people had piled into A, wait a second, and then go to B. Yeah,
it looks like Team Liquid was making sure he couldn't go that way, so I think Liquid made a decision that, hey, even though they got the soul, let's make sure we get this Obelisk.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. And here comes the power-up. Team Liquid with the quad damage. That's, even though the Slash is quite weak, all you got to do is get one magical shot. However, bot mode quickly swooping in and stealing it away. Team Liquid currently building that percentage, but bot mode's got to be super careful. You know, once you get that quad damage and Sacrifice, you do become public enemy #1. If you've got 37 HP, you will die very quickly indeed.
Yeah, it's good shotgun work, though. Very good shotgun work. Even still, putting in some work.
That's why we see the default shotgun. It's pretty much like the go-to starting weapon. You know, it's some people would never really factor this in, but your close range so consistently, the starting shotgun is your highest source of getting guaranteed damage fresh off the spawn.
And again, we've seen this time and time again from Liquid, using that clutch shield to buy time on the obelisk, to steal it, pass it out. And once again, they have control on their side. It's a good start for Liquid. I mean, even though they got the Unlovables got that initial steal, they didn't get much off of it, and Liquid seems to be settling in on defense here.
And we've seen time and time again how much of a brick wall defense Team Liquid like to put up on this obelisk. It's very difficult to crack into them, and now you've got access to all these different champions, like, you know, like DaHang's clutch. He's just going to be sitting on that point, wasting time, and allowing you to just simply not take anything. And this is some disgusting
Whaz.
Nail gun. Finished off Whaz with that rail. Fantastic.
Wazzle dazzle.
There you go.
That's it.
Now, he was a little bit late on the uptake, but Sten has got access to the soul in hand, trying to get there safely, but he's going to be chased down. DaHang meeting him in the middle. There comes that shield. That's going to waste a ton of time. I mean, realistically, it's going to be so hard. Look at this. Look at how much time he's wasting, and now he's actually got the soul, just walking in and taking it.
Great play again, DaHang. They just don't seem to have an answer for his clutch on this map. I've yet to see anybody effectively counter him. He's just such a problem for these teams.
I mean, the fact that DaHang only just went down there, like, he was able to survive for a significant amount of time, and there we go. There's the drop. It's going to take a little bit of time, and then here comes KGB with that Berserk mode, just trying to get a little bit more of that guaranteed damage. But then here comes the power-up. This is where things get important. Untouchables. Untouchables? Unlovables have access to the protection. Anarchy on protection is going to be fantastic, and there we go. Nice mid-air. And here's the rest of the team to follow through.
Boy, we saw some of that nasty rocket play from him against Stacked as well. And looks like botmode is just, man, he's unconscious with those mid-air rockets.
Like, his Anarchy in this game mode as well is highly, highly impressive. Like, not just like his execution on, like, getting the kills, but just his pathing, his navigation, knowing when he can uncontestedly get that soul dropped off. It's just remarkable stuff.
Now, you know, it's interesting to note that although Unlovables, they got the power-up, but they got a pretty much full time on that protection. KGB still at the very end. They got the steal, but they didn't get much percentage off of that. So you got to give a lot of credit to Liquid for their pursuit, the delay tactics, keeping people on their obelisk, doing a great job.
And on Ruins of Silence too, it's not like this is one of those maps where you can manually throw the soul off and force the reset, which will just kind of like automatically waste time. On Ruins, you really need to just keep that pressure on and just not allow the soul to be in transit at all.
Yeah, here they go, good job. See if they can mount a defense right now. It just seems like anytime here comes, oh, that's it. Keep that clutch off of the point. That's the big thing here for them.
I mean, he is going to be like the elephant in the room, really. You know, historically, in some game modes, dealing with like that tanky champion is normally not the good idea. You want to deal with the damage dealers. In Quake champions, all of these champions can do the same damage. Who do you prioritize?
Again, just that clutch. Look, he has just so much of a stack. It's causing them problems. He didn't even use the shield that time.
Yeah, and on the subject of his stack, I think that's going to benefit him too, is the fact that fresh off the spawn, he's got pretty much way more health than anyone else in this map.
Yeah, I remember we kind of touched on, I can't remember a previous match where I mentioned that, in these team games, you're going to run into people who have limited stacks because of the nature of team games. They're going to be wounded or just haven't had the chance to pick anything up. So having that initial stack is big.
I think that was actually quite good for Rapha to line up those super nails, was he kind of threw the soul away, and then when the rest of the team piled in to take the soul, they're not really dodging his nails in that situation.
Yeah, it's the ball. And they had their backs turned, so it's
speaking of which, there's a rail in the back. See you later, Whaz. But KGB, he's got the quad damage.
Yeah, he's got quad, he's got a decent stack. All he needs is some team support. Even though he has health and stuff, you got to be careful about getting mobbed by the enemy team. Oh. So you always want somebody near you from your team just to pick it up in case you fall.
Now the quad damage, it's likely to run out before they reach there, but it should at the very least allow them to get back safely. No one's really contesting. Can he get at least one more shot? ckap goes down, and then a nice double kill. Nice maximization of that quad damage.
Oh my.
So punches one side, shield rule the next. I mean, that's guaranteed.
Nice. This is good defensive run. Team Liquid really pulling away here. I'm really trying to think what Unlovables could do to turn this around. They're going to be hard pressed. I don't know. This DaHang is really disruptive. I don't know what they can do right now. I
mean, it just seems to be a consistent thing, right? No one really has had an answer for how Liquid are approaching this map yet, and pretty much every time they go on Ruins, it looks like it's been a free win for them. And we can't speak too soon because the soul currently is not being dropped off, but you just got to look at the percentage differences. Team Liquid are looking at very, very dominant right now. 11% left to go, and that, in the blink of an eye, could just go down. You'd be surprised how fast that percentage can climb in Sacrifice.
But as we saw earlier, they came back from stacked when stacked at about 89%. So it's certainly in their capabilities, but again, Liquid with a quick steal back in their end.
And because Rapha has such an impressive slash, all they have to do is forget about him for half a second, and he's already going to go from one obelisk to the next. She can just cover so much distance so quickly because of that crouch slide, because of that plasma trail. Kane getting a couple of frags. Is that going to be enough for him to get the soul away, though?
Oh, there was a big steal there.
Yeah, bot mode, he's looking for the safe passage. Unfortunately, actually trying to go in for the injection. That's going to give Whaz more than enough time to just quickly pick up the soul and pass it back. But you can see ckap trying to get away, but is unable to survive, unfortunately. And this is just that tunnel of death.
Yeah, narrow corridor there. It's doesn't give you room to navigate, so anybody spamming shots down there is likely to hit somebody.
And a consistent issue Unlovables have been having actually is like, yes, they've got the protection, but with 4% left to go, if they could drop it off under their oses, then it may be a little bit dangerous. ckap though with the protection on Sorlag, a massive stack. Very difficult to deal with here. This could be quite a nice little chunk of defense.
Yeah, they really need something here to get them back in this round.
But just look at how much time DaHang wasted there. Like all three people focusing fire, and still the soul goes in his favor.
And that's one of those things. So he puts the shield up, even though he has protection, he's not doing any damage, and he just steals it and throws it out. It's just, I'm waiting to see what team can counter that. And again, it just says a lot about DaHang. He's really good with clutch.
Now, the danger is the one time they drop that off, they got 2%. If they drop it off one more time, it's likely to be another 2%, and that's going to be the round. Unlovables cannot afford to make one more mistake. They have to keep this on the obelisk and keep it there. Otherwise, they're not going to win the round at all.
Not even just keeping from making mistakes. They got to make great plays because, Liquid's going to make plays of their own. And just like we see, they're having a problem with defense. It just seems like anytime they get a few percentages going, there's DaHang again with the shield, and out it goes.
And that's going to be round number 1, and in quite fitting fashion, it's because DaHang just walks into that obelisk, pops the shield, difficult to deal with, just takes the soul, steals it away, and sneaks it back, and that is the round. Unlovables, they need to answer now. I mean, they haven't got time to mess around. They're one round down already.
Yeah, good start by Liquid. There really wasn't.
Oh, this was so unfortunate. Just what do you do in that situation?
Unlovables had a moment here and there in the match where it seemed like they could get something going, but nothing consistent. It was all Liquid mostly.
And I think that's quite fitting, right? I mean, they're on the winner's side of Grand Finals for a reason. They've been so unchallenged going into this Grand Finals. I mean, that first round was quite foreshadowing, but the tide of the match will always be set by who gets this first. Unfortunately, DaHang just sitting on the point, getting the soul easily with another shield wall. This champion is no joke in Sacrifice.
Yeah, can anybody stop DaHang when he has clutch on this map?
The question of the day, isn't it?
It really is, and it's funny because we see Whaz and Rapha, as you said, and then you're not paying attention to Rapha running around with Slash because you're focusing so much on how we deal with clutch.
And the quad damage is going to go into the favor of Team Liquid. And we've seen time and time again how if they can get the soul and drop it off straight away, if they can pretty much get this entire sequence climbing with the power up in hand, it's pretty much like a guaranteed 30%. It's not going to be as extreme now because as you can see the soul sort of going back and forth, but this quad damage is just going to make it so much harder for them to really get anything on deck. Whaz is just going to sit up there completely pretty, and hang on, here comes Kane up behind. Can he get out alive?
Oh man, good shooting, but yeah, just too much support from Liquid. Oh man.
And that's a good lead. 26% down already. And the quad damage actually lasting a pretty significant amount of time. You know, it gets that little increase when you collect it after it's been disappeared. Or dropped, I guess is a better term. And
so as usual, good initial start with the soul, good quad run to start things off, 30+% to get yourself going in the round. It's the best way to start these sacrifice rounds for your team.
And here comes DaHang another time. And just even then, actually Kane does manage to get the gauntlet. And that is one of the answers to Clutch, just trying to sort of like sneak up behind him. It's likely you might be able to do that in this game mode because his attention will be diverted, but not a constant answer is the gauntlet, but an answer nonetheless. Oh, I mean, that's one answer to Berserk though. Just get your gauntlet out and rev for days.
Seemed like their team took a lot of damage, though, getting that soul out of there. I have a feeling Liquid's going to be right back mounting an attack.
I think that's why Rapha is so easy just going there with the gauntlet, right? You know, no doubt they would communicate with their team. Guys, they're weak. And then Rapha's like, well, here comes the gauntlet. Full speed ahead.
Nice plasma trail. Keep pursuit from that main area. He might go back, though. He's going to redirect.
Yeah, trying to be a little bit more unpredictable. You can see how many members there. Maybe wait for the rest of his team to flop. As you can see now, they would communicate. Guys, they've lost 2 people. Let's go in. Yeah. DaHang's still on the point. But Rapha will win that 1 versus 1. Misses the rail, so he's going to be punished heavily here, unfortunately. But Soul remains on Obelisk B.
So 46-0 at this point. You know, excuse me, 46-8.
Don't worry, looks like a 0 from back here. It's totally good. But Unlovables, they've been able to drop it off temporarily. But here comes a power up, and you can sometimes have to ask yourself, have they been able to drop things off? Because attention was diverted towards the power-up. You know, now they haven't got it in their favor. There's the tactical drop-off. Whaz now with plenty of health. And there we go. Who's going to stop this man?
I don't know. He's been so impressive at multiple times. It's just amazing, this guy. I really do believe this is one of the best pickups recent for any sacrifice team was getting Whaz.
And he's been doing so well too. I mean, like, you know, just having that really strong anarchy to believe in when you have, you know, these other 2 or other 3, I guess, talented members of Team Liquid. But then you've got Rapha and DaHang that have so much knowledge in the game. You know, maybe they don't necessarily want to be stuck in that anarchy role. Maybe they want to be a little bit more interesting. DaHang with the clutch, you know, for example, he's able to really put a stamp on something that he knows works, and his team have it to such good effect.
Well, that was big for Unlovables. At least they got the hang down. It looked like he wanted to force his way in there and get another steal, but they really need long defense. They're not out of this yet.
Yeah, they're doing it much better on this Obelisk too. You know, some teams, like, even if they don't admit it, there are some players that will have preferred Obelisk to defend, and on Ruins, this tends to be one that I think teams have a little bit more of a higher success rate on Obelisk A. But here comes DaHang for another time.
Wow, just covering that alleyway for his teammates.
I mean, it's just that multi-utility. It's like that shield wall is like a Swiss Army knife. It has so many different forms of usefulness.
Oh man, just got the cap.
There's plenty of members on Unlovables though, so I don't think it's going to be on that Obelisk for very long. The problem is Team Liquid, I mean, they still remain in the lead.
But not by much. All it takes is a quick cap here, a little defense, and we got this power up coming in 20 seconds. So whoever gets this quad, I mean, especially if you're on Unlovables, you think get this quad, go on a nice run, tie this game, maybe take the lead.
But unfortunately, just beautiful LG. Absolutely beautiful LG. And then you can see trying to go in there, Kane with the gauntlet. But I think the mission there was trying to just make a safe passage, clear the way, eliminating all enemies there. But there's the drop-off again. Then here comes the power-up. Now, again, that's why the attention has been diverted. Who's going to win this one?
Looks
Team Liquid, oh no, DaHang has the quad damage. This is disastrous.
Yeah, initially, I was looking at the icons there. Initially, Unlovables picked it up, but it was quickly stolen by Team Liquid. Now they're there. Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, they needed that. They really needed the quad steal. Now they can maybe get some offense here.
Yep, I think Kane, that was a magical gauntlet to catch him off guard. Ultimately, you're only really going to be able to focus on one target at a time, and Kane with the cleanup. DaHang soon to follow. Will KGB fall as well? And he does. And there goes the soul. That was a fantastic little spree, perfectly put to good use.
Yeah, that was a big steal by Kane. DaHang looked like he might go on a nice little run there and really stopped him in his tracks, gauntlet in the back.
But that's what happens. You put all of your attention on DaHang, and then here comes Rapha just sneaking in there, and you're dead before you even have a chance to realize what's happened.
And Slash is so fast. I mean, so he's coming in with the plasma trail behind the shield. It just makes it really tough to deal with. I really like their approach. It's going to be hard. I want to see how a team counters it, if a team can. I haven't seen anybody do it.
Well, they're in the lead, but you said yourself, right? No, not much. Percentage difference can be easily climbed with just a matter of a few seconds, but Whaz, he's going to be patient here, waiting for this Mega. Unfortunately, a couple of his teammates will be dropping, so Whaz, he's going to sit there pretty until the rest of his teammate respawn. I think getting heavy too. Now, this might be kind of hard to stop him from dropping this off.
Yeah, after getting stacked like that, he's definitely going to make a route. Took a lot of damage to get it there, though.
Yeah, especially if KGB follows in. That was fantastic coordination and just a nice amount of patience displayed.
Yeah, and again, even though he's taking damage, KGB, his teammates backing him up. That's what this mode is all about. You need your teammates to back you up.
And he had the plasma trail going off DaHang with that shield wall. This is going to be one difficult to deal with Obelisk. And the amount of time it takes for the shield wall to sort of be up and waste that time allows the rest of the team to respawn and get back into the fight. But here comes Kane. Very weak, but has got the soul dropped off temporarily.
Yeah, still 82% already for Team Liquid. We got the protection coming up shortly, so I would say Unlovables really needs to make sure they get this one.
If this protection goes in the hand of Team Liquid, I'd be very much so willing to say this is likely to be a game, but unfortunately they don't have the clutch to stand on the point. ckap, although he's got protection, he's very weak. One more shot might actually send him out, and if they get protection now, which they might do, oh dear.
I was a little surprised Liquid didn't have much of a presence that time at protection, but it worked out for him anyway.
I wonder if it's because they're dedicated so hard towards the soul at that location anyway, they might as well try to dedicate. You know, DaHang was already piled in, he had his shield all activated, they kind of had to put all of their resources there, but it hasn't really mattered too much. They did manage to steal the protection anyway, and now they're 10% away from getting this first map, and that's half the work done in this grand finals already.
One of the things you could look at in some of these battles, notice how Team Liquid, 2-3 guys will always divert to the same target. They'll all shoot the same target. It's hard to do in a big mass fight like that to coordinate your shots, but it makes a big difference because you'll down people individually very quickly.
And I mean, like in a game like Quake, when everyone's being able to output the same damage, if you're eliminating those targets one by one, the damage output of a team is drastically cut in pieces. 1% more will send them through. They're going to fight for their lives, but this became a mountain to climb for Unlovables.
Oh, great shotgun work. He still has a shield up as well.
That's going to be that one.
That's going to be it.
That's going to be 1% more. They comfortably seize what they need in a map one. I mean, that was their pick, right? You know, Ruins of Sarnath, it's historically been a very strong map for Team Liquid, and that's just going to follow suit one more time. And it's just the level of communication they have on board, their priority on the target, and of course, their ability to seize the power-up. But I've got to say, you know, there's no getting around it. To hang on that clutch, it is a problem in Sacrifice.
Yeah, they definitely seem to have a magic formula on this map. They've looked virtually untouchable on the map. I mean, yeah, you know, you say Unlovables got the percentages here and there, but was there ever really a point in that map where you're in doubt that Liquid was in control? You just get that feeling, like, you know, they're just very much in control of things, and anytime Unlovables seem to, it was just never enough momentum. It's like, you know, but I feel like Liquid's going to come back and steal it, and it just couldn't get.
I think that's pretty much you're hitting the nail on the head in the sense that even though the percentage was going in favor of Unlovables, there was no point where they would have the soul delivered and then just put up a defense for like 50%, you know, and just climb that massive chunk, get in the lead temporarily, you know, hold it for a substantial amount of time. We just haven't seen it. Team Liquid would inevitably take it, and it will go back consistently because it's just, I think their ability, they've got their heads screwed on in Sacrifice, haven't they? You know, we're going to have a map change. I would be expecting a lineup change as well on the champions we should be expecting to see, and that's just going to come down to how much these guys have grinded this game mode. Unlovables, though, there were signs of life. It was not complete destruction.
No, and again, this is their map pick, as you mentioned, so they obviously feel a little more comfortable here than Sarnath. So we'll see what happens, what kind of adjustments they make. I want to see if Liquid goes again with the Scale Bearer Slash combo for the power-ups and area denial. And then I want to see how Unlovables can deal with that, because as we saw against Stacked really didn't have an answer for that setup. So I'm curious to see what happens here.
Well, some of the lineups that we see in terms of the champions that selected, it's almost like Team Liquid pick champions for the power-up. You know, how do we actually want to handle a power-up fight on this map? You know, where you see them pick the Slash and Scalebearer combination on Blood Covenant. That was essentially to combine both the Plasma Trail and the Charge together, which means that no champion standing on that power-up is going to survive, but it allows Scalebearer to hit the teleporter and build max speed, and it works hand in hand. I feel like on Runzasana, the clutch pick, which pretty much means that if he's on that point, you're pretty much not going to take the power-up if he has teammates nearby. Now, going on to Lockbox, you wonder, like, what is the combination going to be here? What's the strategy?
Yeah, and I don't know. They're just doing a great job of picking their champs. It seems to be map-based mostly, not opponent-based. They just got a really good approach, and the timing of the way they're executing is really impressive on the power-up. So Unlovables, though, I still believe, I got faith that they can pull off some magic, but I still think Team Liquid probably closes this out.
Well, I know some of you guys at home are definitely believing in Unlovables. That poll was not as lopsided as one would expect. You know, I think a lot of people are believing in Unlovables after their performance against Stacked. It was an unbelievable performance completely. You know, they've pulled off a lot of surprises today. And I mean, today has been the day of surprises. Many of these matches have not gone as people have expected. And you have to wonder, you know, in this grand finals of Sacrifice, will that follow suit, or is Liquid gonna finally break that mold and be the predictable winners that people are really expecting to see all day?
In my opinion, going back to the picks, the champion picks, one of the biggest things to look at is the area denial ability of the champions they choose. Because I feel like if you use champions that don't have area denial, we kind of saw it earlier. I think Stack took a risk in the Tempest match against Unlovables. If I recall correctly, they only had one character that could really do area denial, and I think that came back to haunt them a little bit. So I think Liquid's being smart about having 2, 3 characters that can really deny an area power-up obelisk. And I still believe that Anarchy could be kind of a little transferable character, because he really doesn't deny areas, but he's so quick as a runner. So I kind of question, maybe you could just go with Slash as a runner because of the Plasma Trail, and maybe pick another area denial champion as well and then go with 4 instead of 3, but I think Liquid clearly feels 3 is enough.
Well, they've gone with what they know. You know, we've seen the Scalebearer picked, we've seen the Slash get picked, and I think on the flip side, Sorlag being selected, another very popular champion in this game mode, regardless of how Sorlag may be affected in duels because of the acid ticking over time, doing a little bit less damage, and the fact that you can't shoot immediately when spitting the acid. In Sacrifice, you're still going to be able to just pepper the soul or the power-up or anywhere that you want with all of the acid, and then anyone that stands in that is dead. Combine that with Plasma Trail and stuff like that, and it's pretty much anyone who touches that is toast.
Yeah, definitely. Sorlag still has its definite uses. It's just not quite over the top as it was in the previous patch. So yeah, it's all about the player. Can the player maximize the champion? And then that's it.
We've seen that a lot today. You know, we've seen our fair share of players that have decided to go, you know what, I know players believe that certain champions and certain combinations may not work or may not be as effective as certain other combinations, but we've seen players go with what they know, and it has worked. And I feel like, you know, it's the experimentation in Sacrifice that is currently letting Team Liquid lead the charge in competitive Quake Champions right now. I'd be really excited to see how they do against a team such as 2Z, for example, but we still have potentially one more map to go. Liquid looking unbelievably dominant, and we are moments away from getting into our second map. Now, you said it yourself, right? You know, you think that Liquid might have a chance to take this one through. Unlovables, if this was their pick, then there's a level of comfort here that they probably would not have had on Ruins.
Yeah, well, this is their chance to change the momentum, because that was just a dominant starting off performance by Liquid. So I think it's even more important that Unlovables gets off to a good start, doesn't let Liquid get settled in. As we've seen many times, once you let Liquid get comfortable on defense, very tough to break.
Now, this could be our final map, as we've said, but Blood Covenant, Team Liquid, we saw them play on this yesterday, and it was very scary indeed. The level of teamwork between Rapha and DaHang, even though it's not surprising, it was still massively commendable.
Yeah, and it's because they do it every time. It just seems like they were just on it.
It's almost like they've played together for years and years.
Yeah, I think that might be it, maybe.
But there's the early league bot mode. There's no one really to head them off, so this Obelisk A is going to be delivered for now, and now it's given them plenty of time to fight for the power-up. If you get an early drop-off, it allows you and the rest of your team to really sort of collect your thoughts. However, bot mode is in a bit of trouble, because I do feel like some of the rest of Unlovables were fighting for this power-up. It has allowed Whaz to drop this one off, so minimal percentage for Unlovables. They have more damage, but for how long?
Yeah, they got the quad. Looks like he's got a decent. Oh, he's been whittled down a little bit. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Oh dear, DaHang comes in and steals it away, but Kane has picked up temporarily. DaHang going straight forward with the crouch slide and the gauntlet. And unfortunately, that just didn't quite work out. Team Liquid, I think they just handled that one so well. Whaz with a fat stack and a super shotgun quad to boot. He is going to be dangerous. Oh, see you later, ckap.
Quad gauntlet. You know, one of the things I noticed early on is it seemed like Team Liquid really wanted this obelisk. They just set up defense over here and just let them run to the other one, said, the heck with it. This is the one we want. That's fine. I think that was very much deliberate, and then they went in for the steal after.
You can definitely sort of, hear the comms of, maybe Rapha or someone saying, let them cap. Let them cap, let's get power up, and now we've got the obelisk that we want. And now the defense, I mean, the iron defense that we are currently seeing. Look at that kill feed. Every single frag is blue on red.
It was, man. I can't say enough about, I mean, this was, oh my goodness. Just, come on. Dazzle, Wazzle dazzle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. I mean, just the fights are consistently going in the favor. And if you and your team can essentially win the TDM that is taking place when the obelisk is here, if they're winning every single fight, you're going to naturally, consistently keep Unlovables behind. And look, 50% in 2 minutes. This has been a fast round.
Yeah, they're just dominating right now. It shows, I think they really did want that obelisk. I think they feel it's the stronger side. And we'll see what happens on this next power-up. It's going to be protection. If Unlovables doesn't get this next one, the protection, they're going to be hard-pressed to win this round.
Yeah, Rapha did try and sort of make a slightly different passage, maybe trying to actually keep his bull rush in motion going back, unfortunately getting fragged halfway through, which did allow bot mode to kind of get that opening to drop the soul off a little bit earlier than he probably would have wanted to.
Here we go, we got a power-up in about 8 seconds here.
They've got to be careful. I think, if Team Liquid can seize this one, then they'll be in heaps of trouble. There's not actually a huge fight taking place just now, but many members conversing now. Team Liquid, all 4 members in hand. DaHang with a huge stack, and that's going to be made even bigger by the mega health he's just collected. He's got the plasma trail ready to go. This is going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, similar to the problems we saw earlier they had against Stacked. It just seemed like nobody was there for the power-up. It was all Team Liquid. There was no fight for it.
But they're winning the fights even before DaHang gets there. So, I mean, who's going to be there to stop him? He's going to get in and take that clean double. And now they've got that 60%. I know the protection's going to run out, but he's still got a huge stack as well.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. And the plasma trail, yeah, there it comes. I was like, he can still deny the area. Yep.
Oh, I mean, Sen did what he could, but that plasma trail bot mode gets sent off the map. See you later, mate. And just an ounce of percentage left for Team Wicked to take this one. It's been a fantastic round for them, and I mean, this is their map to win, really.
Yeah, confidence got to be sky high right now. They can smell that sweet money.
Looks like they're going to try and converse in. DaHang surviving just long enough to get one more rocket on deck, but here comes Rapha to defend from behind. Whaz as well, and I mean, it's just looking impossible to crack into the defense of Team Liquid.
Yeah, we've seen this several times from them in this tournament where they lock in and it's like, geez, what do you do? I mean, they get into several positions. You see they got 2 guys, they got a guy in each hall there to shoot on. They try to keep guys on top, and then not to mention mix that with the great individual play and talent that they have, and man, it's really hard.
I mean, you've just got Rapha and DaHang on lineup, which are already world-class duelers. So if you're trying to play Sacrifice and you've got to 1 versus 1 Rapha, I mean, that is scary.
Yeah, it is.
But at the same time, it's just, you said right, coordination. It is their ability to work as a complete unit. They're covering all these different angles, but then the defense coming through from Rapha and DaHang on the point itself. You're having to duel DaHang for the obelisk, and that is a scary feat in itself.
And I think Whaz is, don't underestimate Whaz either. He's quite the duelist himself, even though he's mostly in team play right now. So he's highly talented.
His aim is putting that into good use.
Yeah. Oh man.
Hang with the quad, but of course, you're not going to be able to reduce your damage, so if enough focus goes down in you, it will disappear quite quickly. HB with the quad now. Gets hit by 1 rail, so got to be so careful. Wow, off 144, still alive, Sen! I mean, he was on borrowed time after that 144 shotgun.
Oh man, this is looking like they're going to close this out in this round. Quad is still up, plenty of time. Yep, there it is.
There we go, it's a match point. Team Liquid, they're looking so insanely unchallenged. I mean, Unlovables, they're doing what they can, but realistically, it's the sheer level of teamwork that we're seeing from Team Liquid. We saw it yesterday, we're seeing it today. I don't know if anyone can stop them. I don't know if anyone in the world can stop this team right now.
Yeah, it seems to be their tourney to lose at this point. I mean, everything's there for them right now. The championship is right in their hands. All they need to do is close the show.
I mean, if they lose these frags that early, it's not going to be the end of the world. The frags really start to matter around the 15-second mark. You've got to be there on the 20-second mark to fight for the soul. And if you're not, then, well, it just became a lot more difficult for you and your team to get it. But look at the double coming through. Rapha with the gauntlet and the bull rush, and they've gone off with the drop. This is kind of scary, and here comes KGB from behind. This is a fantastic start for Team Liquid.
Yeah, and again, getting that Obelisk B, I firmly believe this is the better Obelisk to have due to the amount of health, the heavy armor. It's just a better spot to have. There's not as much health on the other Obelisk, and even the mega health is there. It's in an exposed area. You gotta leave your defensible area.
Now the quad damage goes in favor of ckap. He's going to have to be a little bit careful, but here come the nails. Big damage incoming.
Yeah, nice play there, but again, it's got, oh man.
I mean, it's one of the juiciest weapons to have quad damage for, 100%. But they have been able to sort of temporarily seize the soul away. It's a minimal lead for Team Liquid on 19%. That can be, wow, swiftly dealt with. And that was, I've got to say, that was a very impressive rampage, and it just continues until the bitter end. ckap keeping that quad for the entire duration. Fantastic stuff.
Now, can they capitalize on that great frag run of ckap and get some defense here? That's the big thing. It counts for nothing if they just steal the soul back.
And it's been their problem, isn't it? You know, their issue has been being able to keep the soul for any prolonged amount of time. Team Liquid, their coordinated assault, as you can see right now, it's just so on point. They only have it for about 15% or so, and then it instantly goes in the hands of Liquid again. And
going back to what you're saying about the combat, the team DM aspect of it, the fragging aspect of it, they just cleared out the enemy base right there. Right? I mean, there was no Unlovables left to defend. They just killed everybody.
And now, here comes that iron defense coming through for another time. I actually like the distance of Sen. You know, if you can sort of like control that rail, you've got a nice amount of vision at the back, and it did get put to good use right there. They just need to get out alive, and I mean, bot mode, he's taken so much damage. If he gets out, I'll be very surprised. But hang on a minute, Whaz tries to go in for the pummel and just at the wrong range. That is some guaranteed nails, and we might now see a soul drop off.
Yeah, it looked like they might have been watching Whaz from earlier games, watching out for him to be sitting there at the pummel.
I mean, that's definitely his favorite weapon, right? It has to be. Getting chased by a Doom guy, but I don't know if he's actually going to be able to sort of like go behind enemy lines. So many members of Liquid there to defend him.
Oh,
nice rail, fantastic.
That was a good steal by Whaz. Even though it was short-lived, still, it's keeping Unlovables from really getting any defense going. And again, they just recapped it.
Ooh, kind of looked like Rapha actually mistimed the bull rush by half a second. Unfortunately, if he did it a little bit later, of course, would have gone straight into the quad and turned anyone into pace, but punished heavily, and now it's going to go in the favor of Unlovables in due time. But Sen will only last so long. Obviously, you can't reduce your damage, but he's getting a good pick off on Whaz. Can he defend long enough? Rapha goes down too. KGB's not looking at him, so that's going to be uncontested frags also.
Again.
Oh, he's alive!
Really just, they're not getting, even though when they get the quad, they can't get much off of it.
I mean, they're getting frags, but the frags aren't enough to stop the soul from moving towards the obelisk they don't want it to be at.
Yeah, the frags you want is when the soul's on your obelisk and you're killing the enemy all around and clearing the place out. Those are the frags you want.
But I feel like, you know, Team Liquid, they've played Sacrifice so much, they are so heavily experienced in this mode for now. I mean, a huge thing you're going to do as a team is, how do we deal with the power-up when it's not in our hands? You know, what is our strategy?
Yeah, and clearly Liquid's very good with their defense.
And I just feel like it's just climbing piece by piece. It's looking so hard. Unlovables, I mean, that 16% they're able to achieve at the very beginning, it's all they've done so far, but Liquid, it's climbing further and further. 30% will put them as the champions, but I mean, they look so unstoppable. I don't know if Unlovables have it in them to get a push necessary and a defense long enough. Yeah,
they're just, I mean, you just see the kill feed many times, although it looks like they may get something here. Can they get DaHang down? Yeah, okay, so they probably will get a steal here, but again, can they get it to their base and make something happen?
That's the thing, right? You know, you score a frag on the obelisk, the enemy team is actually going to spawn probably closer to your obelisk than you are, so they get that extra shot to meet you in the middle, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They close in on Rapha, and they do manage to score a double. Unlovables have made some insane defenses throughout this tournament. Unfortunately, they've got no other choice but to do it again. But if DaHang can drop this off, actually have enough time to fight for this power-up too. In 10 seconds.
He does. So now we're getting to that point where Unlovables might want to think either you go all in for this power-up or do you try to steal?
Oh, KGB just gets denied DaHang too.
Oh, no. Now they got protection. Whaz is...
Oh, dearie me.
It's Whaz with protection. Oh, jeez.
I think they use the time of him getting protection to try and take the soul. The question is, will they be able to actually get it out? I think actually you can see them not really moving. They're trying to maybe waste the time of the protection, but either that or maybe they just don't want to bump into him. Whaz, he's sitting pretty in the middle of this map just in case they try and pass it.
He knows they're going to throw it off like they were. Or this is just a good example. Liquid's paying attention to these other teams. They're not just over there taking a nap while these other games are going on. They're watching, and so they were clearly ready for that.
But then if you communicate that the soul has been manually reset, obviously for those that may not know, you can actually throw the soul off the map and it forces it to restart into the middle of the map. Team Liquid really forcing that guaranteed fight in the middle. If they win the fight, their reward is the soul, and of which they've dropped it off because of that just sheer level of communication. And here comes KGB, rip and tear with the Doom Slayer. Bot mode goes down as well. Can he get one more? Kane also drops.
Some great work here by KGB. Liquid's looking like they're going to close this out. 92%. Got it back on their Albus. 94. This is desperation time for Unlovables.
I mean, it's going to be 3%, right? That's going to send them out. The off-map comes through as well. Will Team Liquid have enough percentage left? 2%. I mean, can you prevent Team Liquid from sitting on the point for like 2 seconds? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's looking like a wrap to me.
They're doing what they can. Whaz has dropped it off. It's going to be 1 more %. Is that going to be sufficient? And it will indeed. Team Liquid will be your champions of DreamHack Denver. Fantastic stuff. They went into this as the favorites through sheer dominance, and it was that exact dominance that put them as today's champions.
I mean, honestly, they maybe lost 1 round this whole tournament.
I mean, they were looking pretty untouchable.
They 2-0'd Stack, and they lost 1 round, and I think in the first map, and then that was it. They've run the table the entire tournament. Extremely impressive performance from Team Liquid.
Well, we are joined once again by DaHang. I know you've been watching that with a keen eye. What do you think?
Oh man, I think Unlovables knew what they were up against. I mean, we saw a lot of showboating, we saw a lot of really cool kill streaks, but you know, we even saw Kane throw out a little bit of like a nice one there. I think there's like a combination of, you know, we want to see what we can do to prove ourselves against Liquid. We're here in the grand final. We know what the stakes are. We know, you know, it's not likely going to go our way, but we're going to give it our all. And look at these guys. I mean, everybody's thrilled to see both of these teams up here, but it is going to be Liquid taking the top billing here.
I mean, regardless of what happened, you just know that North America is proud of their boys. You know, this has been a fantastic result for this part of the world, both teams being from America, and I mean, they've looked incredibly strong. I know Europe is going to go away from this tournament knowing that they have some work to do, and I have no doubt they'll return stronger at DreamHack Winter, but I think Team Liquid have just sent quite a message to the rest of the world.
Well, speaking of strong returns, I mean, having Quake champions back at DreamHack, you know, plugs us right back into being able to go from here at Denver to Sweden for DreamHack Winter, where I'm sure, you know, we're going to see Liquid, we're going to see 2Z in some form.
That's the big one,
We're going to
2Z.
have, you know, the sparks flying. We're going to have these teams butt heads once again. So yeah, precedents were set at QuakeCon. Molds were broken here at DreamHack Denver and at DreamHack Winter in Sweden. I think it'll be the real deal.
I saw that, Machiavelli. I saw that with my keen eye.
Hey, I'm a little bit of a Liquid fanboy, what I'll say. But no, all fairness though, Unlovables can hang their heads, keep their heads high.
Oh yeah.
They did a great performance, had an excellent upset against Stack. They're going to take something from this. This is a great experience for them, I'm sure. They got to the grand final. You know, they won themselves a little bit of cash as well.
Yeah.
Which isn't terrible. So I'm sure that'll make them feel good. And then they can use this experience for the next tournament and try to improve from here. But again, right now it's Team Liquid's moment.
This has been a fantastic series, a fantastic tournament in both duel and sacrifice for a lot of these names who, you know, didn't quite make it through groups at QuakeCon or didn't quite make it past the round of 16 of QuakeCon playoffs. Show up, have their faces seen, have their games be played out. And, you know, I think there's a lot of new fans out there in the audience.
We've been able to see the transition between, you know, QuakeCon Sacrifice to DreamHack Sacrifice. It's just the different approaches. You can see the creativity that Team Liquid have been able to display. You know, you can just tell that they've gone into this taking it very, very seriously. They've had a lot of different options. As we've said, the map-specific champion picks, and it was put to fantastic use. It just shows how much of an understanding these guys have in the game currently. Very impressive stuff.
It was a hell of a run, but that is going to end with Team Liquid in the lead of things. Well, let's see how often they show up in this top 3 run of the shots.
I'll be expecting quite a lot, and one of them might be DaHang.
I think we might see some Whaz in there too. Oh, KGB had some nice shotgun runs as well.
Definitely. I mean, this was that moment, right? I mean, you've got a clutch shield in front and you've got a punchy man behind. What do you do in that situation? But bot mode was able to somewhat survive as well. I mean, Unlovables, they did have moments of glory where they were able to survive, but ultimately, and it's Whaz again. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, he had several moments in this game. I keep hyping him up. I'm kind of like the Whaz hype man right now. I really do believe it was one of Liquid's best pickups this season. So let's hear it from the man himself.
Yeah, here's Rapha, team captain for Team Liquid. And man, I'm very proud to. Oh, geez, actually, that's got some weight to it. Might have trouble with TSA with that one.
Oh, that is actually kind of heavy.
Yeah. So how are you feeling in the series? You had a bit of a break, being in the upper bracket, of course. So a bit of a time to kind of soak in the rest of the play. How did the series go for you?
Series went pretty much like practice does against them, and we just played really sound. I personally felt like I didn't play up to my normal level, but I just made sure that I did a good job of cutting off, communicating, and we just played the fundamentals really well and had really good teamwork.
Do you think there was like a moment there on Sarnath where they might have been able to take a round there? I mean, that they forced you to kind of take like what, almost 9 minutes for that first round, right?
Yeah, I don't think so much. Sometimes that's just the nature of clutch, you know, like because like sometimes when you get the soul, you'll be too weak by the time you get back, and then you know they might be able to take it. It's just when you're able to finally get it and hold, and then you have shield to defend the point, you have trail, you have, you know, Doomfist pretty much. And you could just go ham. Like, it's really hard to deal with.
I feel like I want to say on the subject of clutch, right, where one thing that's very prominent about how you guys have approached sacrifice is you've gone onto it knowing how you guys want to play the game mode. Because obviously you guys have a deep understanding of Quake champions, which will naturally go hand in hand with the way you approach the game modes. What is it about, I guess, the champion lineups you select? And what are the things you want to try and, what are the boxes you want to tick when going into a champion lineup?
I mean, DaHang is probably hands down the best sacrifice clutch that I've seen. And we really wanted to run it before, but he was a bit too weak. But I think with the balance changes that they made for him, it's like on a few maps he became viable. Let's say Sarnath is because there's so many vials around the map, he can get his shield back.
Yep.
Whereas like DM6 used to be, or Blood Covenant used to be really good, but there's not enough vials on the map to really justify the pick, and there's too many areas to spam nails where he, you know,
big boy.
So, yeah, he'll just die to those. So, but I think what we try to do is based off the meta. If we think we can play something off meta that really fits to our style and what we want to do, then we'll do it. We're not afraid to. So, going into this tournament, we had an idea what we wanted to do, but I told Tim, I was like, man, if you feel confident with your clutch on LAN, it doesn't feel like it's too overbearing. You just tell us, and that's what we're going to play.
Excellent.
On those maps. So.
Now, talking about champion selections here, you recently brought KGB on board, which is fantastic. And, you know, in his previous teams, we saw him play like a ton of Anarchy, a role traditionally taken by you in some maps, in some cases, yeah. What was it?
Whaz was the Anarchy, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a weird melding, really. So how has that actually affected, you know, the agreement for who's going to play what?
I had no problem stepping aside from the Anarchy role. I pretty much felt at QuakeCon he was the best Anarchy and I was the second best. And I have a very versatile champ pool, so it kind of is fine to me to be able to flex and to play what the team needs. So it was pretty natural. It's like, why not let him loose? The guy is just, he's insane. So, and then for KGB, you know, he just kind of filled the role that Wins left, as far as, you know, being the consistent damage dealer, and then, you know, just following comms correctly, and, you know, just have good positioning. Make sure he's the guy that's always cutting off, and Doom is probably right now like the best champion for them.
I'd like to ask you a little bit more about Whaz and the pickup you guys made and adding him to your roster. I just feel that really elevated your team. Some of the plays we saw from him were phenomenal. Talk to us a little bit about Whaz as a teammate, how he's fit in with you guys, and how impressed you've been, because obviously you're going to see more of him now that he's your teammate.
Yeah, of course. I think he's brought a really good level of communication and understanding of kind of like myself, as far as like when we're kind of what we're failing at as far as in scrims or in matches, like what we need to shore up in the next like minute or two, like what we're doing wrong in the game. We need to, you know, be accountable for that, and, you know, just get better. And I think that's brought a great addition to the team. I think that's what our strength was at this tournament, is teamwork and communication. Like, we listened to the calls. There's like teams, you know, they make calls and they get the information sometimes, but they don't react fast enough. Like, you know, if you get a call like that the soul has to go this way, trust the guy, you know? Yep. Like if I call a slash on Sarnath, I call you to go this way, just trust that I'm gonna have trail or something, and then we go and we follow. Like if my teammate needs help at some area, then I'm going there immediately, so, yeah.
Awesome, I appreciate the insight. And actually, I mean, congratulations to you and Team Liquid. I might ask you to take your team captain hat off a little bit and just put on your, you know, Rapha being Rapha hat. Let's look at these duel brackets here, or our final duel match coming up, this grand final. Is this really something you expected to see?
I think with the patch that dropped, the top 4 are amazing Anarchy players. all 4 of them, and I think that's really helped them with their style. The one surprise is I'm really surprised and pleased to see how well Dewey played with some of his own off-meta picks. He played very well with Clutch, and I think this patch really helped Garpy. He's always had really good rockets, and I think he's using Doom pretty much to the ability that he's supposed to. So I think going into this matchup for the finals,
Yeah, we need the help, actually. Our predictions have been awful today.
I'm the jinx today.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
I think
Yeah,
I don't know what the maps are, so isn't it
It's gonna be best of 5, yeah.
Okay, I give the edge to Razy on Blood Covenant and probably Sarnath, but then the other 2 I would give to Garpy, so it's kind of a toss-up as to what the random map's going to be for the 5th one. So, but expect to see Razy play a bit more aggressive and try to use Anarchy in like a faster sense, and Garpy will probably try to like use the speed to get in position to just have solid, you know, set placement rockets and try to catch him out. Probably set more traps is my guess. So.
Well, I certainly hope you don't mind if we crib those notes, because again,
okay.
we really need the help. Once again, congratulations to you and Team Liquid.
Thank you.
It's a great win. Hope to see you in Sweden as well.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back here in just a little bit with the awesome conclusion. One more matchup to go. It's going to be Garpy and Razy for the DreamHack Denver 2017 Quake Champions Duel Grand Final. What a mouthful that is.